Good day everyone. Magandang araw sa ating lahat, my dear graduate students. If you are watching this recording right now, I want to personally welcome you to our virtual class. Kahit nasa bahay kayo, nasa office during your break time or studying late at night, I really truly appreciate your effort and commitment. Alam kong hindi madali ang pagsabayin, ang trabaho, ang family responsibilities natin alongside these graduate studies. That is why I always say that being in graduate school is already a decision of courage and growth. Hindi ito basta enrollment lamang. It is a conscious choice to level up intellectually and professionally. Now, for today's recording, we're entering into our preliminary lesson, which I entitled Critical Reading of CMO number 15 series of 2019. Later in this discussion, we will also do a transition towards a more recent document, which is the CMO number 21 series of 2025, which updates and strengthens the earlier guidelines. Now, the purpose of this session is very clear. Gusto kong maging familiar kayo sa development ng graduate education policy sa Pilipinas, especially the changes in curriculum format that aim to keep graduate school competent and globally responsive. Sa madaling salita, aaralin natin kung paano nag-i-evolve ang graduate education para makasabay sa global academic standards. But please remember, this is not just reading for compliance. Okay? Hindi ito basa lang para may masabi. This is critical reading. And when we say critical reading, we analyze, we evaluate, we question, and we connect ideas. Hindi tayo passive readers. We need to be an active thinkers. So as you listen, I encourage you to reflect deeply. Now, let us begin with CMO number 15 series of 2019. But again, before I proceed, I want to make something very clear. This video recording is not a replacement of your reading activity. Take note of that ha. Hindi ito kapalit ng actual na pagbabasa ninyo ng dokumento. This discussion is only meant to guide you through the salient points so that you can better understand the structure and direction of the policy. You still need to read the CMO yourself, okay? Slowly, carefully, and critically. Now, why is it important? Because in research, reading is foundational. Kung hindi ka marunong magbasa ng mabuti ng policy documents, ng journal articles, or theoretical frameworks, mahirapan kang mag-analyze, mag-synthesize, at lalo na mag-argue in your own research writing. Critical reading develops your ability to notice details, interpret meaning, and evaluate implication. So this recording will highlight key provisions, but it will not capture every nuance, every section, every technical detail written in the memorandum. Only your personal and careful reading can do that. So as we go through this discussion, I encourage you to open the actual CMO document. Basahin ninyo ito alongside this video. Mark important sections, underline provisions, write notes, because graduate education requires independent intellectual engagement. Take note of that. Okay, so let's proceed. Ang CMO ay SCHED Memorandum Order. No? It is a formal policy issued by the Commission on Higher Education. And again, it provides the policy standards and guidelines. We call it PSG for graduate programs in the Philippines. In simple terms, this document sets the rules and standards that universities must follow when offering master's and doctoral programs. Now, bakit ito ginawa? It was created to ensure that graduate programs in the country maintain quality, academic rigor, and research orientation. Graduate school is not meant to be casual learning. It is designed to develop advanced competence, independent thinking, and scholarly contribution. But again, do not rely solely on my explanation. Read the document yourself, because in research, depth of understanding comes from direct engagement with primary sources. Remember this, a good researcher is first a disciplined reader. Now let's continue. This CMO was issued to ensure quality, rigor, and research orientation in graduate education. Graduate school is not simply an extension of undergraduate studies. Okay? Iba ang level of expectation dito. Sa undergraduate level, students learn established knowledge. While sa graduate level, students analyze and interpret knowledge. Now, to continue, sa doctoral level, students are expected to produce new knowledge. And again, that is the progression. Okay, now let us move to the core principles of CMO number 15 series of 2019. Again, before I explain this slide, I want to remind you, please read the actual document, okay? This slide only summarizes the core ideas. Ang tunay na lalim ng understanding ay makukuha ninyo kapag binasa ninyo mismo ang memorandum. As graduate students, you must train yourselves to read primary policy documents carefully, because research always begins with careful reading. Now, let us discuss the core principles. The first principle is that the framework used is outcomes-based education, or what we call as OBE. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin nito? Outcomes-based education means the focus is not simply on what is taught, but on what the students can demonstrate after completing the program. Hindi lang ito tungkol sa coverage ng topics. It is about the competence of the students. So in graduate school, the real question is, ano kaya ang kaya mo nang gawin bilang isang graduate school student? Can you independently design research? Can you critique existing literature? Or can you publish scholarly work? OBE shifts the focus from teaching-centered to learner-centered outcomes. That is why assessment, thesis writing, and research outputs becomes very important. Second, emphasis on research productivity and publication. Graduate education is research-driven, hindi ito optional. Research is central. The memorandum emphasizes that students and faculty must contribute to knowledge production. Okay, take note of that. Hindi lang ang estudyante, pati ang mga faculty. Now, when we say publication, it is very important in terms of knowledge production because research should not remain inside the university library. Through publication, research are being circulated, reviewed, and receive citations, therefore contribute to academic discourse. But again, do not just accept that statement. You have to read the CMO yourselves in order for you to know how realistic this can be, and so that you would know what support systems must be in place. That is how you read critically. Third, clear differentiation or distinction between academic and professional degrees. Okay? So in the new guidelines for graduate programs, meron ng tinatawag na academic degrees, meron din tinatawag na professional degrees. When we say academic degrees, it includes MA, MS, or PhD, or in your case, MA Ed. Okay? And they are heavily research-oriented, meaning these programs aim to produce scholars and researchers. On the other hand, when we say professional degrees like Doctor of Education or Doctor of Business Administration, it focuses more on applying knowledge in professional contexts. However, they are still grounded in research principles. This distinction is very important because it clarifies expectation. Hindi pare-pareho ang research depth at orientation ng bawat program. Lastly, graduate faculty qualification. As I've mentioned a while ago, faculty also need to produce research because faculty must demonstrate the following: advanced qualification, meaning they must hold appropriate graduate degrees themselves. Second, active research engagement. Hindi pwedeng nagtuturo lang. You need to have your own research as well. And lastly, publication track record, because mentoring graduate students requires actual experience in research and publishing. Now, why is it important? Because graduate education depends heavily in mentorship. Kung ang faculty ay hindi aktibong researcher, mahihirapan ang estudyante na mag-guide ng maayos. So as you reflect these core principles, my dear graduate students, ask yourself, Are these standards being practiced fully in our context? What challenges might institution face in implementing these principles? And how do these principles shape your identity as a graduate student? Okay? Remember that this slide is only a guide. Your real learning happens when you read the CMO document in full detail. Now, let us move to the program requirements under CMO number 15. Let us begin with the master's programs. Under CMO number 15 series of 2019, master's programs have a minimum unit requirement and this varies depending on the field. Ibig sabihin, hindi pare-pareho ang number of units across disciplines. For example, a Master of Arts may have different requirements compared to a Master of Science. The next important point, thesis requirement for academic tracks. If you are enrolled in an academic master's degree like MA or MS, or in your case, MA Ed, you are required to complete a thesis. Bakit required ang thesis? Because academic tracks are designed to train you as researchers, as I've mentioned in the previous slides. The thesis demonstrates that you can identify a research problem, review related literature, apply appropriate methodology, analyze findings, and contribute to knowledge. Hindi ito compliance activity. Take note of that, okay? It is a research training exercise. Now, there is also a non-thesis option, but this is generally allowed under the professional track. Professional programs focus more on applied practice rather than theory building. However, take note, even if non-thesis, it does not mean no research, okay? Usually, there is capstone, project study, or applied research requirement. Another important requirement for master's program is comprehensive examination before thesis. The comprehensive exam assesses whether you have mastered the theoretical and methodological foundations of your field. In other words, bago ka payagang mag-thesis, you must demonstrate readiness. Okay? This ensures quality control. Hindi pwedeng mag-proceed agad sa thesis kung hindi pa solid ang foundation mo. Now, let's move on to doctoral programs. Doctoral programs naturally have a higher unit requirement compared to master's program. Mas malalim, mas specialized, at mas research intensive. The most important feature of doctoral education is the strong research component. At the doctoral level, you are not just consuming knowledge, you are expected to produce original knowledge. That is why dissertation is required. Hindi ito extended thesis lang. It must advance the discipline. Another important element mentioned in publication requirement is that it may be encouraged or required by the institution. Some institution requires at least one publishable or published article before graduation. Now, why is it important? Because publication ensures that your research passes peer review. It exposes your work to critique. It tests whether your contribution is recognized by the scholarly community. Okay? Also, doctoral programs have comprehensive examination with the same reason behind why it has to be done. Unlike some flexible master's program, in doctoral studies, comprehensive exams are required both for the academic track and the professional track. Okay? This exam tests breadth and depth of knowledge. It ensures that you are qualified to move from one courseworks to independent research. So when we look at the structure of both master's and doctoral programs under CMO 15 series of 2019, we see a clear pattern. Graduate education is structured, research-centered, and competency-based. It is not simply about earning units. It is about demonstrating readiness for scholarly contribution. Okay? Now, I want to emphasize again, please read the full CMO document, okay? Because upon reading the policy, You can be trained to interpret formal academic language, identify implications, questions implementation gaps, and even connect policy to practice. And that skill is very essential in your thesis, in your dissertation, and even in your future academic work. Now, let us move to a more recent CMO, the CHED Memorandum Order number 21 series of 2025. As I've mentioned, this is a more recent policy issued by CHED, which further strengthens and updates the standards for graduate education in the Philippines. Kung ang CMO number 15 series of 2019 ay naging foundation ng modern graduate education framework, ang CMO number 21 series of 2025 naman ay isang refinement, and it's a strengthening measure. It responds to emerging global standards, research competitiveness, digital transformation, as well as the internationalization of higher education. In other words, this CMO builds upon the earlier policies but introduces stronger quality assurance mechanism as well as a clearer expectations for research productivity and institutional accountability. Again, I want to emphasize, this short discussion is only a guide. Hindi ito pinapalitan ang inyong pagbabasa ng mismong CMO number 21 document. As grad students, you must read the actual policy carefully, appreciate its scope definitions, and the implementation provisions. Now, let us examine what changes and enhancements were introduced under this new memorandum. Now, let us ask the important question. Why was there a need to update CMO 15 series of 2019? CMO 21 series of 2025 was not created randomly. Hindi ito simpleng revision lamang. It was designed to refine and strengthen the earlier framework established in 2019. Policies evolve because education evolves. Kung ang 2019 framework ay nakafocus sa establishing standards, 2025 updates respond to new realities, global competition, digital learning environment, and research impact expectations. Again, please remember, this slide highlights key points only. I encourage you to read the full document carefully. As a researcher, you must train yourselves to analyze policy transitions. Kung ano ang binago, ano ang dinagdag, ano ang dapat ini-emphasize. That skill of comparative reading is part of graduate level thinking. Let's proceed. First, reason for the update. To respond to the globalization and digital transformation. Higher education is no longer purely local. Universities are now compared globally. Research outputs is indexed internationally. Journals are ranked, while collaboration happens across borders. Now, in terms of digital transformation, it also has changed graduate education. For example, yung online databases, AI-assisted research tools, meron na tayong mga virtual conferences, or hybrid and flexible learning modalities. So when you say the changes made in CMO 21, it actually recognizes that graduate programs must adapt change as well. Hindi na sapat ang traditional classroom-based, no, or locally confined models. Programs must prepare students for global academic participation. Now, let us pause and try to reflect this question. Is your current research aligned with global conversation in your field? Now, let's proceed to the second reason, to emphasize internationalization and innovation. When we say internationalization, it means research collaboration with foreign institutions, publication in international peer-reviewed journals, student and faculty mobility, as well as Curriculum aligned with global standards. Now let's continue. When we say innovation, on the other hand, it pushes programs to go beyond replication. Graduate education must encourage the following: interdisciplinary research, industry academic collaboration, creative problem solving, as well as technology integration. So the message of CMO 21 series of 2025 is clear. Graduate programs must not only comply, they must compete. Now let's proceed to the fourth issue, which is another major refinement. That is the raising standards of research quality and impact. Notice the word impact. Previously, quality might have been measured by compliance. Kompleto ba tayo sa units? May thesis ba? May faculty ba? Now, impact is emphasized. Impact means, is the research cited? Does it influence policy or practice? Does it contribute to national development? Or is it visible internationally? This is actually a shift in mindset. Graduate education is no longer just about producing theses that stay on library shelves. It is about producing knowledge that matters. And you, as graduate students, you must ask yourself, is my capability in terms of doing research merely for completing a requirement, or it goes beyond in as much as contributing to something bigger? Now, let's move to the next point. Tightening monitoring of graduate program delivery. This means stronger oversight. Now, CHED expects institutions to demonstrate faculty research productivity, student completion rates, publication output, resource adequacy, and quality assurance mechanism. Hindi na sapat ang paperwork compliance. There must be evidence of actual implementation. Monitoring here ensures that policies are not just written, but practiced. Perhaps the most important line in this slide is this. CMO 21 signals a shift from compliance-based quality to impact-based quality. Compliance-based quality as, nasunod ba ang minimum requirement? While impact-based quality as, ano ang naging epekto ng programa sa isang estudyante? Did it produce competent researchers? Did it elevate national research output? Or did it contribute to innovation? This is a deeper expectation, and this shift also affects you. Graduate school is not about finishing units. Take note of that. It is about building scholarly influence. Now, let us move on to key enhancements from the CMO of 2019 to 2025. This is where we can clearly see the evolution of the CMO. First, stronger research output expectations. One major enhancement is the stronger emphasis on research outputs. Under CMO 21, publication in index journals is strongly encouraged. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng index journals? These are journals recognized in reputable databases like Scopus, Web of Science, or even the ASEAN Citation Index, meaning they meet certain international quality standards. Hindi na sapat na may thesis or dissertation ka lang. The expectation now is that research must be visible, accessible, and internationally recognized. This raises the bar for graduate students and faculty alike. Now, let's pause for a while. Is your current research design, particularly what we are now thinking, publishable? Or is it simply written to complete a course requirement? Now, let's continue. Another enhancement is the consideration of research impact and citation. This is a very important shift. In 2015, in 2019, compliance was the main focus, but in the revised and amended 2025 CMO, impact metrics are being acknowledged. Now, impact can include the following criteria: citation count, policy influence, industry application, or community relevance. In short, hindi lang quantity ng research ang tinitingnan, but we are now focusing more on the quality and influence that matters most. This signals a transition toward global competitiveness. Graduate research is no longer just an academic exercise. It is expected to contribute meaningfully to knowledge and to the society. Now let's proceed. Another important addition is that research must align with the institutional research agenda. Ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Universities must have a clear research direction, priority areas, thematic focus, and national alignment. Graduate theses as well as dissertations are expected to support that agenda. Why? Because scattered research topics weaken institutional identity, while strategic alignment strengthens institutional impact. This also teaches you something important as researchers. Research is not done in isolation. It must exist within institutional and national priorities. Move to the second major enhancement. It's directed to a clearer policies for online graduate programs. Now, CMO 21 introduces clearer governance for online graduate programs as well as the blended learning delivery. This reflects post-pandemic realities as well as digital transformation. Graduate education can now be delivered through multiple modalities, but we have to ensure that quality must remain consistent. Hindi ibig sabihin na online ay mas mababa ang standard. The policy ensures that learning outcomes, assessment integrity, and faculty qualification remain strong regardless of modality. Now, let's continue. Another enhancement is the so-called institutions demonstrating adequate digital infrastructure capability. Now, when we say digital infrastructure capability, it means that the institution must have learning management systems, stable connectivity, digital libraries, cybersecurity measures, as well as online research databases. Now, why is this very important? The answer to that question is that digital learning without digital capacity results in compromised quality. CMO 21 recognizes that flexible delivery requires structural readiness. And this is again goes back to institutional accountability measure. Now, if we compare the 2019 to 2025, we see two major strengthening directions. First, research must be globally visible and impactful. Second, graduate education delivery must be digitally governed and quality assured. This reflects a larger shift in higher education philosophy from do you meet minimum standard towards do you produce measurable academic and societal impact. Now, let's move to another major enhancement under CMO 21. Again, this concept of internationalization. If you notice, this was not as strongly emphasized in the 2019 CMO. But by 2025, international engagement becomes a central expectation. Now, what does internationalization involve? First, it encourages research collaboration. This means partnership with foreign universities, international research institutions, and cross-border research teams. Again, why is this important? It's because knowledge production today is global. Maraming complex problems, climate change, AI ethics, public health, education reform, and again, all of these required interdisciplinary and international collaboration. Graduate students are now expected to operate in a globally connected research environment. Now, once again, let's pause and reflect on this question. Is your research framed only within local literature? Or are you engaging international scholarly conversations? To continue, another important key enhancement is the mobility programs and visiting professors. Now, this encourages mobility programs as well as visiting professors. Mobility programs allow students and faculty to experience academic environments abroad. While when we say visiting professors, it means it brings external expertise into the institution. Again, why does it matter? Because exposure expands perspective. When we say internationalization, it strengthens academic standards, research methodologies, theoretical frameworks, as well as professional networks. Graduate education is no longer isolated within one campus or even in one country. And, and a connection to that internationalization framework, there is also what we call benchmarking against ASEAN and global standards. Benchmarking means comparing program quality against recognized regional and international institutions. This introduces accountability and competitiveness. Hindi na sapat ang locally acceptable. Programs must be regionally or globally comparable. This pushes institutions to continuously improve research outputs, quality qualification, as well as academic processes. Now let us move to another very important enhancement. CMO 21 introduces stricter rules for opening and continuing programs for graduate students. This is a major governance strengthening measure. The first requirement is that higher education institutions must demonstrate sustainable research productivity. Take note of the word sustainable. Hindi lang one-time publication, hindi lang isang project. Sustainable means consistent, ongoing research output over time. This ensures that graduate programs are built on active scholarly environments, not just administrative approval. Second requirement, adequate number of doctoral qualified faculty. This strengthens what was already mentioned in CMO 15 series of 2019, where programs cannot exist without qualified mentors. If faculty lacks credentials or active research engagements, program quality declines. This requirement protects students from enrolling in a weak academic environment. Third, institutional accreditation level. This means the overall credibility and quality assurance status of the institution matters in maintaining graduate programs. Graduate education is seen as a high-level academic responsibility. Not every institution can simply open or maintain a graduate program without meeting stricter standards. If we look at these enhancements, internationalization and stricter program governance, we see a clear direction. CMO 21 is raising the bar from minimum compliance to global competitiveness and measurable sustainability. Okay, I would like to emphasize once again to please read the full document. As I mentioned a while ago, as researchers, your intellectual discipline includes engaging directly in policy frameworks. You have to compare how the old CMO discussed faculty research requirements versus how CMO 21 strengthens them. Reading carefully helps you to detect policy evolution, understand regulatory logic, as well as as well as to critically assess implementation feasibility. And that analytical ability is essential in research. Graduate school is not just about finishing, it is about thinking structurally. Now, let us move to the last key enhancement under CMO 21, the quality assurance integration. If we look at the trajectory from 2019 to 2025, makikita natin na hindi lang ito tungkol sa dagdag requirements. It is about integrating graduate education into a broader national and global quality framework. Now, let us examine what quality assurance integration means. First, enhancement. Alignment with the Philippine Qualification Framework, or the PQF. The PQF defines qualification levels in terms of knowledge, skills, and values. So what does alignment mean? It means graduate programs must clearly demonstrate that master's level outcomes correspond to the advanced professional or research competencies, while doctoral level outcomes reflect highest level expertise, innovation, and knowledge creation. Hindi pwedeng generic ang learning outcomes. They must align with national qualification standards. This strengthens coherence between policy, curriculum, and graduate outcomes. Now, another major enhancement is the emphasis on measurable graduate attributes. Notice the word measurable. Hindi na sapat ang vague statement like students will be competent or students will be knowledgeable. Now, the focus is on observable and demonstrable attributes. Let us examine the three highlighted attributes. Una, graduate students must demonstrate advanced critical thinking. Now, this means the ability to synthesize complex theories, the ability to critique methodologies, the ability to challenge assumptions, and to construct scholarly argument. Hindi lang pag-recite ng literature. It is analytical engagement. Critical thinking is the backbone of research. Second, independent research capability. At the graduate level, especially at the doctoral level, students must be able to design studies independently, select appropriate methods, defend methodological choices, interpret data rigorously, and write for scholarly publication. Independence here is the key word. Graduate education should transition from guided learning to autonomous scholarship. Third attribute, leadership is knowledge production. This is very significant. Graduate education is no longer just about participation in research. It is about leading research initiatives. Because when we say leadership, it includes heading research projects, mentoring junior researchers, influencing policy, or even shaping academic discourse. That aligns with the shift from compliance-based quality to impact-based quality. Now, if we step back and look at all the enhancements I've cited under CMO 21, series of 2025, we see a consistent direction. Una, stronger research expectations. Pangalawa, international competitiveness. Pangatlo, digital governance. We also have stricter institutional accountability We also have clear alignment with national qualification framework. And lastly, measurable graduate outcomes. This is systemic strengthening. Graduate education is being positioned now as a strategic national investment in knowledge production. Now, as we conclude our discussion, let us look at the comparative insight between CMO 15 against CMO 21. This comparison helps us see not just policy differences, but the evolution of graduate education standards in the Philippines. But again, before anything else, I want to emphasize strongly, this RAP is just a guide. It does not replace your responsibility to read both CMOs carefully. As graduate students, one of your core research skill is the ability to compare frameworks, trace policy development, as well as analyze shifts in academic standards. Now, let us examine the comparison area by area. Now, under CMO 15, the framework emphasized outcomes-based education. The focus was on clearly defined learning outcomes, competency demonstration, alignment of curriculum, assessment, and outcomes. Once again, this is foundational. While on the other hand, for CMO 21, the framework expands now towards impact and global benchmarking. Hindi lang sapat na may outcomes. The question now becomes, do these outcomes create measurable impact? Are these outcomes globally competitive? Therefore, from outcome-based thinking, we now move to impact-based thinking. This is again a significant philosophical shift. Continue, under CMO 15, research was required. This is thesis, dissertation, faculty research engagement, these were mandatory. But for CMO 21, research is still required, yet with stronger emphasis on the following: index publication, citation, and impact, as well as institutional research alignment. In short, from research completion to research visibility and influence. Hindi na sapat na may research output ka lang. It must be publishable, citable, and aligned strategically. Also, under CMO 15, delivery was primarily traditional. Remember, this was released prior pandemic with limited flexible learning consideration. And again, supported face-to-face structures domination. While for CMO 21, we see stronger digital governance. Now, there are clearer policies for online programs, governance for blended learning, as well as digital infrastructure requirements. This reflects a post-pandemic transformation and technological integration. Graduate education must now operate within digitally accountable system. Another thing is faculty expectation. Under CMO 15, faculty must be qualified and research active. But for CMO 21, they are expected to elevate the following: higher research productivity, sustainable publication track record, and a stronger contribution to institutional impact. For faculty expectation, the shifts is from research active to research impactful. This increases pressure, but also elevates academic standards. Now, for the last part, on quality monitoring. CMO 15, monitoring was largely compliance-driven, meaning are minimum standards met, are documents complete, or are the requirements satisfied. But for CMO 21, monitoring becomes sustainability and impact-driven. Therefore, the focus shifts to: is research productivity sustained? Is the program globally benchmarked? Or does the institution demonstrate measurable quality? This is a deeper accountability model. Now, if we summarize the evolution, I would say that CMO 15 established structure, compliance, and outcomes. But SEMO 21 strengthens impact, it demands competitiveness, and it is now focused on measurable influence. This reflects the maturation of Philippine graduate education policy. Now, I want to end with a challenge for you as graduate students. Where do you position yourself in this ship? Are you aiming merely to comply with requirements? Or are you preparing to produce impactful, globally relevant research? Finally, I emphasize once more, you have to read the actual CMO document, no? Because this would really help you to get that skill that is required in thesis writing, dissertation development, and publication. As I've mentioned, this video serves only as a guide to highlight salient points, but real understanding comes from disciplined reading and critical reflection. Graduate education is not passive compliance, it is intellectual responsibility. By the way, before I will end this presentation, let me first proceed to your first output. Now, your output one is a reflection essay for CMO 15 series of 2019. And I want to be very clear, this is not a summary. Hindi to paraphrasing lamang. This is a critical reflection exercise. The goal is for you to engage deeply with the document, analyze, and express your informed opinion. Now, for the instruction, after reading the memorandum, answer the guide questions as part of your reflection. And also cite scholarly sources to support your idea. And use APA format when you cite, and also avoid plagiarism. Now, for the guide question 1, does changing the graduate curriculum relate to previous educational reform like the K-12 program or revisions of the undergraduate curriculum, and why? Second guide question, do you agree that publication should be a major requirement for graduation, and why? Third question, what is your stand on earning a postgraduate degree by research without courseworks, provided there are relevant publications? Be analytical, support your arguments with references. Graduate writing requires evidence-based reasoning. Remember, the goal is not to summarize the memorandum, but to critically engage with it. Think about the implications, the rationale behind the policy, and how it shapes graduate education and research culture. Take your time to read, reflect, and write. Huwag magmamadali. Deep reflection produces strong, credible essays. And also, I'd like to emphasize this one, all course deliverables must be submitted in one complete set via the official Google form upon course completion, meaning you only are given one submission, no, per student. So make sure everything is final and correct before uploading. Okay? And then grades will be released only after all required tasks are completed. Grades will be issued to you in the succeeding month after you complete your submission. And then what else? In terms of reading, no? Reading. Again, it's very important. Kung hindi ka magbabasa ng mabuti, mahirapan ka talaga mag-analyze ng malalim. And if you cannot analyze deeply, you cannot produce strong research. So read critically, reflect deeply, and write carefully. So once again, thank you for watching this recording. I look forward to reading your thoughtful, well-supported, and evidence-based essay. God bless us all and continue growing as scholars and researchers.